Welcome, friends. Welcome all to Existential Shaman. It has been a long time since I made an astrology video, and I'm about 75% through Pluto Conjunct Sun. Like, it started a couple years ago, and I looked at my ephemeris. If you don't know what that is, it's like a table for where the planets are, so you can find out exactly where the transits happen, when the transits happen. Uh, it's spelled EPHEMERIS, ephemeris. It's pretty cool, but so I'm mostly through Pluto Conjunct Sun in Capricorn. I'm also going through, it just started Pluto Trine Ascendant in Virgo, and pretty soon it's going to be Pluto Trine Moon, so got a lot of Pluto energy going on here. But I wanted to make this about Pluto Conjunct Sun mostly because I've gone through a lot of the breakdowns that it's all about, and it's about breaking down the right way, I guess, because it breaks you down, and the form of breakdown I think is different for different individuals, and I think I really wouldn't have much to say that's of good use on Pluto Conjunct Sun until now, until I've already been through the breakdown process. But it's happened at the same time I've got Pluto square Jupiter going on, and so there's just a lot that's being, a lot that's coming out. But for one, this is such a maturing transit or aspect to have that it's really like, you really don't know much about life until you're like 40, and I mean, I'm 30 and I feel like I know a lot about life, but this aspect, it really requires a lot of maturity to handle in the best way possible. So yeah, so with Pluto conjunct Sun, I really want to talk about projections when it comes to Pluto. Psychological projections, because and this is for the most part going to apply to most people in the Western world. Psychological projections, it's all part of the psychological complex that Pluto is associated with. And with Pluto, it's kind of points out how humanity has a soul, how humanity is not perfect. And Pluto just gets right to the bottom of that with like a laser-like focus, like focused on the flaws. And the main thing that this taught me, and I think this is because I'm a Capricorn, it's an unforgiving earth sign, is to be more compassionate and sensitive towards the flaws of others and the flaws of myself. Like at the beginning of this transit, I was just like pointing the finger at, like, I had that kind of mentality, and because I thought that I was special, and that I was, because I had the conjunction or something, that I was some kind of worthy prophet or something. And I really learned that yes, there's a lot of truth that this aspect can give you, a lot of like clear vision, but you're still human and you're still not perfect. And that's such an important thing to remember when you've got Pluto conjunct Sun, because you can see what's wrong, and you can see like kind of there's a hopeful vision of a better world with Scorpio or Pluto conjunct Sun. But the thing is, that's not going to happen. I mean, look at Saturn. Saturn knows, Capricorn and Saturn, they know that things are wrong. That's why they have that realistic, even keel kind of mentality, because they know that there's going to be a problem, and they know that there's going to be a flaw. And it's more of an acceptance. With Scorpio or Pluto, it's like trying to make it better, so therefore it's like escaping the reality with the ideal of a better world. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. For me, I learned to balance out what I expect from the world and how much I expect it to change, and seeing it for what it is and seeing myself for who I am. It's a very important thing, and that's where projections come in, because at first with this transit I was projecting a lot, and I've learned a lot about psychological projections, and I think that's what, for most people who are watching this type of video, that's I think the biggest sort of insight you can gain, at least from this video, is projecting, and being really honest and compassionate with yourself. It's hard. But it's almost like being aware of this transit made it kind of worse, because I just expected so much of myself. And now that I'm kind of through it, I've gotten through it, I've realized my power and my capabilities, and I feel like nothing could really stop me at this point. I just feel I feel that way. And it helps that I've got the Pluto trine ascendant thing going on too. But before, I was afraid of my power, and I would take the victim mentality, and I would point out the flaws of others, and I'd be like, oh, well, if they, Pluto's such a wild, incomprehensible force, the way that it works through people, because people are wild and incomprehensible. But yeah, but with projections, there's often a fear of something intense, a fear of an intense drive within yourself. So you attract things externally to, it's like a mirror to yourself, like parts of yourself that you're afraid of. And this aspect doesn't allow you to be afraid. Like, it just puts so much shit in your face that you eventually get brave. Because I was pretty assertive before this transit, but now I'm really not scared of anything. Like, really, and well, there's still things that I'm afraid of, but I'm just better at facing those things, I guess. So that's what this kind of transit can do for you. Or if you've got this aspect by birth, it's very intense and empowering, and it puts real circumstances in your face. Like, shit happens to you, and it's just like you have some days that could literally break you down, and that sucks. But it also causes you to come back with more force. That's the thing about Scorpio. It loves to take revenge. So if it doesn't have to be against a person. If any life situation has gotten the best of you in any way, you are going to instinctively, without thinking about it, like, you can think rationally about it to make it actually happen, but behind that is a primal drive to overcome whatever has brought you down. And it doesn't matter how absurd it is, you're going to fight back. And sometimes you do it blindly, sometimes you make a good plan. Scorpios, or Pluto Conjunct Sun, is really good at planning things. But sometimes you do this without realizing it. Because Scorpio and Pluto are also secrets that you hide from yourself. So sometimes you'll be making a plan without even realizing it, and it ends up working, and you're just kind of like, oh, my life is going this way, but you don't realize, because of the projections, that you may be projecting this power within yourself onto things outside of yourself. And that's where the whole God thing comes in, like with the unseeable, the true source of power. And I'm not saying that you are God or that Pluto is the ultimate God. Pluto is a transcendental planet. You're supposed to go beyond it and into the universe, where you're with cosmic consciousness and the nothingness that is the being present in the moment. But yeah, Pluto is a very, very powerful force. Um, and if you have it in you may be going through a breakdown phase. I went through one. I went through this phase where at first everything in me, like I was like a volcano. There's all this tension and buried emotion, and it was just intense. And then I went through an emotional breakdown phase where I was like crying every day, and it was like the volcano had exploded, and it was like never before in my life. Like I went through this major psychological breakdown phase, and I was surprised at how much power that had over me, like how much my emotions can drive me to do certain things, I guess. And I didn't do anything criminal. Like I finished college. I finished college and started in an industry that's it was intimidating at first. I work in the industry, like, I don't know, that can be intimidating to some people, like just being in a factory with mechanics. I don't know, but it all just depends on who you are, I guess. But it was intimidating to me and just my situations I was going through, and that I still am, because I'm still in this transit. But I think after the emotional breakdown part, I definitely have more perspective, and I still don't completely know everything, and I'm still human, and I still remind myself of that, even though I've got this great like knowledge of astrology, and just even though I'm aware of all of that, there's still so much you don't know with Pluto. There's secrets that you hide from yourself, and you'd be surprised at how long you can keep a secret from yourself. Yeah. But this was my Pluto Conjunct Sun video, coming from someone who's been there. I've been through a lot with this transit, a lot of near death, a lot of deep emotional shakeups, and I'm becoming a different person, basically. Just how I function, and the level of like the amount of willpower I have on a day-to-day basis. Because the less my projections get in my way, the more energy I have to spring forward. Because once you get beyond your own illusions of perception, once you break past those projections and those just stories in your mind, and they're sucking up your energy, and you have to break through that and realize that you don't know, and that the only way to go forward is to forget what you know and realize what you don't know. Sorry, I'm also going through Saturn conjunct Neptune right now, but realize what you don't know, and that's scary and intimidating, and that's what Pluto is all about. So yeah, just think about that. There was an answer there for you. Alright, that's the end of this Pluto Conjunct Sun video. I hope it was helpful. Have a great day. Bye.